Shit. Okay. So welcome back to the third episode of Triangle. Today we are very honored to have our second guest in Triangle. So if you guys remember, he was actually the first person that I interviewed in Triangle. Coach Vic.
Hello.
Yeah. Can you give us a brief introduction of yourself?
Okay, so my name is Vic. I think everyone knows my name by that. So I have been in Jiu-Jitsu for about 10 plus years right now, I would say. I don't remember when I started actually. But yeah, I didn't really start from PTT, but I started from elsewhere. I started my BJJ journey from Budo Academy. So yeah, then I've been training since then.
Okay, so are you a full-time coach?
No, I'm not a full-time coach. Although that I train a lot every single day. I would not say every single day, but maybe like Monday. You will see me 5 days a week.
Yeah, that's
right?
quite a lot.
I wouldn't say that I train. I'm not really a full-time trainer, right? So I do have my daytime job. I work 9 to 5, that kind of stuff, right? So yeah, I'm actually a part-time coach in a sense.
Okay, so you are working in a corporate as a full-time corporate worker and
right.
part-time coach.
Right.
It's quite a combo. But can you tell us more about your journey?
Okay, my journey started off when I was 18, 19. I don't really remember the exact age, but I know I was in college. Okay, I was in college, and then along the way I found out about Donnie Yen. Okay, how this started is that I watched this movie from Donnie Yen, right? I remember the name was called SPL. The name of the movie was called SPL. And then Flashpoint. So the techniques and the fighting style and everything he was using was actually MMA.
Okay.
So I did my research as a curious guy. I did my research at what's MMA, and I was like, okay, it's called mixed martial arts. And then within that, in the realms of MMA, right, one of the techniques is called BJJ. I was like, okay, this is something nice, because I have never heard of BJJ before. I mean, of course, they were like listing out as Muay Thai, Karate, blah blah blah, all those standing striking stuff, right? Okay, those are very common. But BJJ itself, the name actually caught my attention. So I was like, okay, what is BJJ? I was very curious. So I went to Google. I was like, oh, okay, this is something like judo, but it's not like judo. So this is how I get started off with, it kind of intrigued me, like, wow, okay, this is something that I want to do. And then I keep doing research, like, okay, where can I learn this? And somehow, one day I was driving past down Kalawai Road, and then there's a banner right there. There's a banner stated that it's BJJ. Okay. And then it was in Budo Academy. And then I was like, okay, that kind of brings my hope up high. Okay, that's BJJ in Penang. But then I didn't really went in and do my research. I didn't really go to the gym until a year later on. So that time I was like maybe 19.
Vic, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
As everybody watching this podcast knows already, brown belt of PTT, ambassador of black belt tape. As per the interview, full-time corporate slave,
Yes,
part-time coach.
correct.
Most of your students in the class also know that you seem to have this style of coaching, like to a army. You're planning an attack on enemy ground,
Right.
or there's a competition in Penang, and you'll be having this analogy of defending the fort.
Right.
And could you explain more, how do you develop this style of coaching over the years? And yeah.
Okay, so way before I did do BJJ, I was in sport in school as well. But in terms of how active I am back then was not really like how active I am compared to right now, right? So, and I mean, in Malaysia, you have school, like you have uniforms and all that, right? So one of it is cadet. So it's in BM, it's called Persatuan. Cadet Persatuan Malaysia, something I'm not wrong. Okay. So it's in English it's called Cadet Army. So I was in that cadet. I was there for 1 or 2 years. So yeah, it kind of that is how I developed my own discipline from there. Right. You are drilled to do marching. You are drilled to do basically like a soldier, right, in a way.
Like so, disciplinary stuff lah.
Yes. So that's how I developed my disciplinary, and then that's how I carry forward to these days.
I see.
Right. Yeah.
So since an age from like high school,
Yeah.
you already developed this sense of like discipline,
Yes.
sense of unity
Correct.
from school societies lah.
Correct. It's part of what I use as a tools, sort of like a tools to help me to to become better better of myself every single day. So I mean I used to compare myself with other people like, okay, you know what, I should have done better like him and all that. But in fact, I kind of realized that, okay, if I were to compare with other people all the time, in the sense that I will not be happy. Okay? So I should be able to compete with myself. I should be much better. I should be like try to focus on myself to become better of myself every single day, from time to time. So that kind of push, I would say, right? I need a lot of not just the discipline itself. I need something to like strive myself to become better. So this is why I always have that kind of mentality, right? It's always like trying to push myself to be better all the time. So this is why one of the reasons why I'm still doing Jiu-Jitsu, because I think this is one of the hardest sports in the world, and also one of the reasons why I compete a lot, so that I can gauge myself whether or not I'm better than yesterday, I'm better than last year, or something like that, right? So this is something that I kind of like bring myself forward since then.
Yeah. It makes sense that ongoing strive to be a better version of yourself,
Correct.
better than yesterday.
Correct.
That's just, I don't know. I think this topic is just perfect. I think with you talking of, I mean, you for me is the resemblance of discipline, consistency, and like the silent work, the silent grind.
Yeah.
Like you're the ideology of this. Like if discipline, if silent grind is a person, I think it's you already. Something like that.
Yeah, it's not just me alone. I think everyone in the gym is also the same, right? So everyone is also contributing themselves. Also, everyone is also grinding silently, right? I think so. The people in our gym, I would say, are really grinding themselves a lot from time to time. Not just me myself, because I can see some of our students, some of our teammates are, every single day like trying to I need to be perfect. I need to like rectify this issue. They are doing their best of themselves all the time. Right? Not just themselves.
Do you think yourself as a person who is like type A person, which is slacking off too much, and sometimes you need a push, or you're like a type B person, you're always pushing too much, but you just need to learn how to chill down? Which type do you think you are? Type A or type B?
I don't really have. I think I'm somewhere in the middle of A and B, because if I slack too much, I will try to push myself. If I push myself too much, I will try to like, okay, maybe I should tell myself, okay, maybe you should dial it down a bit. Like I noticed like, okay, for this past few weeks, right? I mean, I have my shoulder injuries, and then this past few weeks I've been like training a lot. I've been pushing myself. I kind of like guilt trip myself, which I don't advise people of doing it. I kind of guilt trip myself. It's like, okay, I don't train today, I should train tomorrow, right? And then in knowing that my body is taking a toll on me, you should rest and everything, but I don't listen to my body. I keep pushing it. So, and sometimes I slack too much, then yeah, this is what happened. Then if I work out too much, then I will tell myself, okay, maybe you should just cool it down. I try to find a balance of working too much and try to rest myself so that I don't slack off too much. So this is why I put like a goal for me, my own, that I will train like 5 days a week, at least 5 days a week. Okay, and not just Jiu-Jitsu itself, but weightlifting. So I do have a schedule of myself doing things from every single week.
It's kind of like finding the balance between not slacking off too much,
Right.
and not working too much.
Right.
Finding the balance where you are still, where slacking is still functional,
Right.
and you're still pushing yourself over your imperfections, your limitations.
Correct. Yeah.
It's all about finding the balance, lah.
Yeah, it's all about finding the balance. I'm trying to like utilize as much time that I have within that 24 hours, right? So you have to calculate within 24 hours, you need 8 hours of sleep. Then the rest of the time, what are you gonna do, right? So you have to make use of that rest of the time. Yeah.
Like from a coach's perspective, you have a class with various type of people. It might be a mix of type A and type B persons, like we talked about just now. As a coach, with a class full of Type A and Type B students, what are the approaches that you have to, guide through Type A students and Type B students?
I would ask the same question to both of them. What is your goal? If slack A is just say that, oh, I know, I just want to come here and sweat and everything, okay, by all means, you can slack as much as you want to, right? But you can still attend your classes, right? So for Type B type of person, that if let's say they want to be better themselves, they want to compete as much as possible, then I will let them know, hey, you know what? You should try to find a balance, right? You're working out too much. If let's say if that person is like maybe in his teen, like very young, then that's fine. They have more ample time to recover, right?
Yes.
If for those who are working like us and all that, right, you might have difficulty finding a balance, right? So you need to find that sweet spot on how to balance your time on training and everything, so that you don't overwork yourself, especially your body. If you start overworking your body, chances is that you're going to get injuries and then you might not be able to train. And then you will put yourself into Type A after that.
Yeah.
It's like a cycle.
Yeah.
Right? People is always like that. The human being is always like this. The moment you start slacking, the moment you start having injuries, you rest a lot, it becomes a habit, and the habit will actually turn you into like this.
Yeah.
Right? It's always about habits.
Yeah. I think a proper rest can actually let us to go further lah.
Yeah, correct. Proper rest is very important in terms of especially when you're doing this kind of sports.
Yeah.
When it's so taxing to your body. I mean, for my age, I can say for my age, right? I'm in my 30s right now. So for me to like continue doing such an intense workout, it's not really good for my body. And if it's not good for me physically, it might not be good for me mentally. So it will affect both ways in a sense. So I need to find a sweet spot all the time.
Okay.
Right? So there are times that I rest, there are times where I'll be like doing a lot of recovery. So yeah, from time to time, like Mook and I, we'll organize like ice bath on Saturday after training. So this is part of our recovery.
It's like hard work should be credited, but sometimes slacking off, having a rest should also be credited.
Correct. Yeah.
I feel that having a rest, having a break is a bit under-credited.
Correct.
Just now you mentioned you started the BJJ at your after college age lah. So which is
during I was in college.
Before college, after secondary school age, which is like 18, 19.
Around that time, yeah.
So can you wait? So it's more than 10 years already, right?
About that, yeah, it's more than a decade.
So I believe within the 10 years, a lot of things happen. Can you share how BJJ actually shaped your life?
Oh, okay. Well, they are good and bad, of course, when it comes to shaping my life. Okay, one thing is that you'll realize that BJJ is not for everyone. Okay, so it's a close proximity type of sport, so not everyone is into BJJ. So sometimes you cannot force people into doing BJJ, and it's also like a ego killer. Right, I have seen a lot of people from like those bodybuilders, right? I will not say bodybuilders, but those gym rats, right? Yeah, those are athlete people that they have never done martial arts before, and then they thought that they can smash people. So I have a few experience where those are people I guess, right? So they come into the gym, they were like, okay, I have that kind of mentality. I am a gym rat. I weightlifting. I'm strong and everything. And then they start coming in to try to smash people. But the moment they start rolling, right, then it kind of like breaks their ego a bit. It's like, okay, shit, man, I can't even do anything about that. I can bench press like 120 kg, but I can't even bench press a person. Not to say he can't bench press a person, but he cannot contain or control that person, right? So it kind of breaks their ego. So yeah, at the end of the day, it's something that I say BJJ, it gives a good vibe and a bad vibe to other people, depending on how that person see BJJ, you see this sport itself. So yeah, along that journey is also one thing I learned is that sometimes Jiu-Jitsu can also break your friendship.
Oh shit.
Yes, it can also really break your friendship a lot. Like I said,
how?
It links to it links to how this ego thing works, right? So if, for example, if you train for more, or if I say, for example, of my experience, right, I trained with this person for so long, together we train, and then somehow, I find the momentum keep going, right? I kind of find the momentum to keep continuing training and everything. And somehow you know that, if you keep doing this, right, you will get better in a way. Well, for that person is that he kind of like you said, type A, slack a bit here and there, then doesn't see improvement. Then when he comes back, then when I start smashing him and all that, he's not happy about this. So that kind of like put a sourness to the friendship. So in a sense, it's like that, right?
Yes.
Right. So a lot of people, like I said, still have ego. They were like, you know what? Yeah, I do BJJ. BJJ is an ego killer. But one thing they don't understand is that they themselves are ego, right? So when they they go type A type of person, type A mood, and then they come back, they expect that they still have it, and then they try to smash people, but in fact they got smashed. And then they start complaining and all that. So things can get sour from there.
And don't you think that, like, I agree, sometimes when we go too hard on somebody, like especially our friends, they might have built some ego, built some resentment
Up.
build some resentment up in themselves towards us or the sport.
Right.
But don't you think it's a bit, mentally exhausting always to be looking out for their emotional well-being? But sometimes I just feel that your emotional well-being should be more of your own responsibility rather than your training partner's responsibility.
Yeah. Okay, here's the thing. I like the word. The key word you mentioned is that mentally exhausting, right? So here's the thing. I was like that type of person before. Like I don't like to get smashed. Okay, whenever I get smashed by people or the lower belt or whatever, right? Back then, I get smashed by lower belt. I feel like, shit, man, I need to teach this guy a lesson, right? So it's kind of mentally exhausting. But the problem is like, if I keep doing that, right, it's also not good for my physical health and also my mental health, right? True. It's like I'm trying to compare myself with that person again. In fact, like I said earlier on, I should be comparing myself. I should be better than myself.
Yeah.
Right? So since then, I kind of like, okay, fine, let's not put that way. We are a group of teammates like trying to help each other in a sense, right? If my teammates is not improving, if let's say this guy is not smashing me, if that lower belt is not smashing me, I would say something is wrong. Something is wrong with our ecosystem, right? It's not working well.
Yes.
Right? So there's our old coach back then, he mentioned that if our white belts is not giving us hard time, or our lower belt is not giving us the upper belt, the color belt hard time, it means that something is wrong with our teaching. It means there's something wrong with our program, right? So it should be where us having hard time from the lower belts. I mean, not to say like to the point where there's a tough competition within the team, but if they don't push us, if the lower belt don't push us, we will not be able to be better in a sense. The ecosystem itself needs to work like that, right? So to me, that's something that I also told myself since then, right? I need to make sure that I push enough the white belt so hard or the lower belt so hard to the point that they are able to smash me. So if they are able to smash me, then it's good. In a sense.
I mean, that's a very, very enlightening mindset lah. I mean, like, yeah, I agree a lot. Like, you're picking as a senior, as a color belt, rather than you proving a point that, oh, I'm better than you guys.
Yeah.
But you've picked up the responsibility of actually looking out for them
Right.
in their progress and everything.
Right.
And actually asking a challenge from them rather than proving a point.
Right.
I think, like you said, this boosts the whole ecosystem and everybody grows at a more efficient rate.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
some people, they do stuck in the senior paradox. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm a senior.
Yeah.
You guys should listen to me.
Yeah.
I think that's also ego talking lah.
Egoistic in a sense. So if this happens, I would say like, I'm sorry if I would to offend people, but this is not my intention. It's basically like a lot of schools these days, they are so fixated. Okay, I'm the senior. You guys should respect me. You cannot ask me to roll. You are a lower belt. You're a white belt. You should not be doing leg locks on me, right? So this is something that I don't like. If those who come to my Nogi class, I always say, you guys are allowed to do any leg locks, but just don't crank it, right? So this is also inviting those who are about to try those techniques, to feel like to have that freedom enough to roll with the higher belts, right? So I don't want to have where the lower belt needs to like kowtow to the senior. I just don't like that. I know there is always a rank that we need to have respect to. I would say mutual respect, right? It's best to have mutual respect among all our team. Maybe we can talk shit, we can, have a friendly banter and all that, right? But in terms of respect, yes, like during class, you can have respect to people and all that. It's fine. But I don't like to have that kind of kowtow mentality. I just don't like it.
Okay, so what do you think people are lacking in their 20s when it comes to living a meaningful life?
Discipline.
Really?
Yes.
You think that?
Yeah, I believe discipline helps a lot. That's the thing, I don't really believe in motivation or New Year resolution.
Yeah.
Every single year you will see people saying that, like every 31st of December, like 11:30 before midnight, people will be like, oh, I'm so ready, I'm going to draft out all my resolution for next year and this and that.
It's good for business lah.
Yeah, it's good for business.
Yeah, every January, the membership, the income is just off.
Mood better.
Ask our gym owner.
Mood better.
How's the quarter report for the first quarter?
So yeah, this is the thing, that I don't believe in motivation or those kind of New Year resolution. I believe in discipline. If you have the discipline yourself, right, you have a certain level of discipline, you will do whatever that you want to do, your goal, on that day, on that year itself, or in between that year itself. You don't need to wait until 2026 or 2027 to do it. So what happens between, to the generation these days, in their 20s, right? They are in the strawberry generation. They are living in their bubble. I'm not saying you guys. I'm not judging you guys, but I was in my 20s. Alright, I was in my teens, right, and everything. I was young before. I do stupid shit back then, right? So, but then I still carry on with that discipline. I mean, not every kid has that, mentality, but I would prefer the kids in their 20s these days to have enough discipline to do all that. So this is the things that are lacking, discipline. They'll be like, I don't have motivation to go work out and everything. I'm like, fuck no motivation.
I don't have time.
I'm in my 20s, but I don't have time, I'm so busy off working.
But I see you guys in the gym every single day, so I don't think that is lacking from you guys, so it's fine. Right?
I believe time is just, something that you have to manage lah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you said just now, you have 24 hours,
Yep.
you use 8 hours to sleep. What about the remaining 16 hours?
16 now.
Yeah, 24.
in work.
Yeah, another 8 hours in work.
Yeah.
You have another 8 hours. I mean, it's up to you to manage lah.
Yeah.
But it's also depending on what are your goals, your short-term goals, your
Yeah.
long-term goals.
Yep.
Not necessarily you have to come to training. But
Correct.
if training, BJJ doesn't direct you to the goal that you have, then it's fine to not
Yeah.
train because
Correct.
that's not your goal.
Correct.
But you definitely should be present in the process of moving towards your goal.
Correct.
But let's say you have a goal, but you always avoid accountability by saying, I have no time, but I want to compete, but I have no time.
Yeah.
But I want to save up 100K by 30 years old, but I have no time.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit.
Correct. This is what happening around people these days, is that they want to be they want to be a champion, they want to win, they want to stand on the podium and everything, but they are not willing to put in the hard work.
It's only the Lulu.
Yeah, they are really delulu in a sense. You cannot really find motivation if you are not disciplined.
I think motivation doesn't really exist lah. It's an excuse. It's like
for you to push to slack.
it's like a safety net.
Yeah.
Like, I have motivation, then I do it.
Yeah.
And then, when you're not doing it, I don't have motivation. It's my safety net, so I don't get caught by laziness. I don't get caught by slacking off.
Yeah, these days is like every time I hear people say, I don't have motivation to do that and everything, right? I'm so allergic to those words. Like it give me that irk. It give me that irk, like they have to ask themselves, like, back to the goal, right? You have to ask themselves, what is your goal? What do you want to do in your life? What do you want to achieve in your 20s before you reach 30s? Yeah, do you want to get married? You want to have kids, blah blah blah, and all that? What's your goal? Right? You have to ask them. If you don't have goal, you will not be disciplined enough, and then you will often find excuses like, I don't have the motivation to do it today, and then I probably will just wait for next year and all that. So at the end of the day, you just need to have goal. So find your goal. What do you want to do?
Goal.
What do you want to achieve before you reach 30s? What do you want to achieve before you reach mid 30s? And what do you want to achieve before you reach 40s? Right? So every single person, I would say, have their own phases of life, right? So for example, like among all my friends, some of them are already married, have kids, have wife, blah blah blah, and all that kind of stuff. Whereas I'm still thinking, how the fuck am I supposed to beat Mook in sparring? Sorry, Mook. So this is the frustration that I have. Right? This is the things that I have. So I say, like I said, my pathways or my path in life is not the same as other people. I have my own goal. They have their own goals. So yeah, find a goal.
Yeah, having goals. I agree with a lot of having goals and then setting out a game plan to reach whatever goal that you are having. But what happens, and I'm not sure if you ever heard about this syndrome, the gold medalist syndrome.
Gold medalist syndrome.
Like Olympics athletes, when they have a gold medal,
Right.
when they have a goal to have a gold medal, and they actually have it, they got what they've wanted, all their hard work has paid off, they're on the podium and everything. What's next? After their achievement, they fall into a sense of void.
Right.
They don't know what to do anymore. There's an emptiness in their life right now because they've already achieved what they want to achieve. From your experience or any insights that you have, how does one overcome this gold medalist syndrome?
I would say try to build smaller goals. Right, you have big goals. For example, like the big goals is to get gold medal. You already achieved that, done deal. You close that chapter of your life. Right, you move on. But then he should also have another smaller goals after this. Maybe he should, venture out, open up, create a few platforms, share his experience and everything. At the same time, he can also earn a living from there, depending on what he wants to do, right? So yeah.
I realized that the smaller goals that you said just now, it's all about sharing your experience to other people,
Right.
inspiring them, teaching them, guiding them, because they don't have the experience that you had at such a high elite level. And it clicked in my brain just now where it's not about achieving, goals are goals, but I think something bigger than goals are like purpose. It might be more sustainable than achievement because the purpose allows you to have a significant positive impact on the people around you.
Right.
Where you're teaching, you're helping other people, you're inspiring kids, teenagers to look up to someone they actually want to be.
So again, I think if we watch back the old few episodes, like what Kim Han was mentioning, people these days, like in their age, right, in his age, or people in 50s, right, they have nothing else to do, basically.
Yep.
Like they work 9 to 5 and then they go back and then they just binge watch Netflix and everything. They have nothing. They have no goals in their life. I don't want that to happen in my life. I don't see myself doing it that way. Right? I don't want to like go back home after work and then just look at the 4 pillars of my walls or just binge watch Netflix. This is something that I cannot foresee myself doing it. Yeah.
Like you know what you don't want to do.
Yeah.
And then you cancel off that opportunity of you cancel off that future that you don't want to be.
Correct. I just can't see myself doing it.
I see.
Yeah.
How do you balance loyalty and self-interest? Especially maybe when you are in a bad situations, when you are afraid to live.
Okay, I would say loyalty, that's another thing about loyalty these days is that, let's just go one by one with that. Loyalty is that a lot of people see loyalty as a transactional relationship. This is something which I think is pretty wrong, right? It's supposed to be reciprocal. Loyalty is supposed to be reciprocal. So in order for me to have the respect, I need to first do it to you. I need to respect you enough. So it has to be a mutual respect and also a mutual trust to create that loyalty within that realms, right? So I would say these days a lot of people are not loyal, but it's not really something that bothers me a lot. If you're not loyal, it's not my problem.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Especially when I feel that loyalty gets a bit too underlooked because like to put it in a gym context, like you have to be loyal to my gym. You can't, if like maybe the gym might be toxic, they have this cult going on in the gym. But they expect you to be loyal to them. You can't cross-train, you can't go to other gyms, you can't make friends with other gyms. What we are trying to say here is that how does one balance being loyal and prioritizing my self-interest, where I want to be loyal to the gym and the gym might be toxic. I want to prioritize my self-interest. It could be me wanting to get better at Jiu-Jitsu, or me seeking for novelty, a new experience, the new high, like the honeymoon phase, something like that.
Okay, when you talk about toxic, do you mean by one person or is it mean by the entire gym is toxic? If it's only one person, then I don't think you should leave, and everything. You should maintain that loyalty. I would say that if I put myself in that kind of context, put myself in that kind of shoes, right? I would say that I don't care about that person. He is toxic. That's him. But among all my friends, they are all good. Among my friends in the gym, they are all good. So I will be loyal to them. I am loyal to them. But at the same time, I can still train with other places, right? So try to maintain my self-interest.
Yeah.
In a way. So if the entire gym is toxic, then just fucking leave, man. There's no loyalty to that anymore. There's no loyalty. That's self-interest already. You need to put your self-interest above loyalty already.
It's a spectrum that you need to balance as well.
Right.
Being loyal to a gym and at the same time prioritizing your self-interest.
Mm-hmm.
If you are too loyal to the gym and under prioritizing your self-interest, it might be not beneficial to your long-term progress.
Correct. And then it comes to this as well. Jiu-Jitsu is so dynamic these days, right? So sometimes you just learn from one platform itself is not enough, right? It's okay for you to go to other gym to train with other people, right? You are just, putting your self-interest first. Then I would say now when it comes to loyalty, it's not to say that you are disloyal. You are not loyal to your team.
Yeah.
Right, you compete, you are still representing your team, which is good, right? It's not like, one day I go to the other gym and then I'm gonna be, when I compete, I'm gonna represent them. It doesn't make sense, right? So I would say that people should have that freedom to do whatever they want, right? And then loyalty is how myself treating that person. If I'm treating that person bad, of course he's gonna be disloyal to me. It's the same thing as, okay, let's say pets, right? If you mistreat your pets, sooner or later your pet's gonna run away, right? I'm not saying that those students are pets, but I'm just saying that kind of relationship. Okay, don't get me wrong, guys. Don't get me wrong, but that type of relationship, there's no way for you to mistreat that person. That shouldn't happen at the first place. When you mistreat that person at the first place, then people will just leave. And then you might think that they are disloyal. It's just that you are toxic.
I think the same concept applies to corporate.
Yeah.
Where the corporate, it might be a high-paying job, but it's toxic, and the culture might be mentally exhausting.
Right.
And you're just there for the fuck you money.
Right.
And the job itself is not necessarily directing you to where you want to be in your career.
Right.
So I think prioritizing your self-interest is way more important than loyalty at that sense.
Right. So yeah, when it comes to corporate world, I did told my my ex-management before, right? When I wanted to leave, I told them that usually people leave, right? I told them in a sense, people usually leave not because they are up for money or they have a better pay and everything. Yes, some people are like that, but you also have people who wanted to leave this company because it's toxic, right? If you don't have a good culture within the company itself, no matter how much pay or benefit you give it to them, they will not take it. They will not come back. People usually, these days, they leave the company because of bad culture. People these days prioritize a lot on their mental health, right? They would like to find a work-life balance, right? People will come back to your company if you have good culture. So same goes with the gym.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
It's a long talk. It's a long talk. Yeah. So basically, for today, we covered every questions we wanted to ask Coach Vic. So the podcast have come to an end. Not yet. We need to ask a few questions before you go. So, in 3 words, how would you want people to remember you as a coach or as a person? Just a short one. 3 words.
Just remember my name.
Hey, but you only got four words, eh?
More than forward, look. Yeah. No, I would say try to remember PTT. If you remember PTT, then if you remember the gym name, you remember combative itself, you will remember me in a way. Well, I would say that I owe a lot to PTT.
Oh.
Right, I owe a lot. I have been training in this gym for past, I would say 5 to 6 years. About that, yeah, if I'm not, maybe I don't really remember the time, but PTT has been really nice to me, and I would say that the students that we have right now, it's pretty good. I would say that it's the best. I'm very biased. Okay, I'm really biased to other people, but I have to say this: our gym white belts, our gym team members, is really really great.
That's so sweet.
Okay, I mean I'm just saying on behalf of PTT, but this is the truth.
That's why he's the ambassador. Use Raymond 10 for 10% offer on Shopee. You're welcome, Raymond Tan.
Okay. That's very sweet. What's next for you? Do you have any goal in life right now, on and off from the mats?
Wow. My goal right now, I think, is basically to try to get a gold medal in my brown belt.
Okay.
Yeah, I try to achieve at least a gold medal in my brown belt, and then after that, I will still continue training. I will not stop. Okay, I have other goals. Right. So, being a black belt is not really like part of my goal.
Okay.
Okay, I don't really believe in chasing belts. Right, I always believe in chasing skills and techniques and everything. So yeah, I know black belts will eventually come, but I just don't know when, and I don't give a shit. But when it comes to my black belt, I don't give a shit. I don't care when I'm gonna get it. But I would want to try to achieve as many goals, try to get as many goals as I can when I'm still able to do so. Yeah, that's pretty much my goal.
Okay. The last one. Outsource questions. What is the most effective way to clean a gym?
Use the students. Use the students.
Use the white belts. You gotta be racist here. Use Indonesian students. Mo! Mop the floor!
Mo, you have been very nice for mopping the floor. Thank you so much. And then always, the higher belt, always get the pump first. So you start spraying, then those white belts will come and clean the mats. So this is what I've been doing. Now you know why I'm so fast on getting the pump. Yes.
Okay. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
One episode.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, our guest of the day. And thank you, everyone who sticks around with us. It's a wrap. Bye.
Bye.
Oh.
Wow, finally.
Oh.
Done.